This is Meghan Markle's sickest stunt yet.
I mean, other than looking like a toilet roll, Meghan Markle is contributing absolutely nothing.
The invoice that broke the illusion. The receipts were never supposed to surface. That is what a Paris hotel insider whispered when documents from Meghan Markle's Fashion Week stay suddenly hit the press. Thousands of euros in penthouse charges, designer fittings, and private security, all paid for by someone whose name she refused to reveal. At first, it looked like another celebrity expense story. But the more reporters dug, the stranger it became. Balenciaga, the brand Meghan allegedly represented, denied everything. Her team went silent, and the leaked invoices showed an entirely different pair: a man, a company, a trail leading far from Paris and deep into Hollywood's elite. Insiders claim the truth left Meghan in tears, with Prince Harry blindsided and furious. But behind the drama is a bigger question. If Meghan did not pay for that luxury suite, who did? And why would someone risk their reputation just to keep her name shining at Paris Fashion Week? Because those bills might reveal more than just a secret sponsor. They might expose how far the illusion really went. And when the truth came out, it did not just end a trip. It ignited a storm no one saw coming. Before we dive into the explosive details, it would mean the world to us here at the Ruby Report if you would hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. If you are already hooked, smash that like button. In Paris, early October 2025, cameras flashed as Meghan Markle stepped out of a black SUV, draped in custom couture. It was supposed to be her moment, a carefully orchestrated comeback during Fashion Week. But behind the polished smile, a second story was already unfolding. That same week, a staff accountant at the Plaza Athénée, the hotel where Meghan stayed, shared scanned invoices with a French journalist. Within hours, whispers turned into proof. Those receipts carried contradictions. One booking was made under a luxury brand name, another under an untraceable Los Angeles corporation. The timing did not match, and when investigators reached out to Balenciaga, the response was instant: "We did not sponsor her stay." By nightfall, French media published blurred screenshots, sending tabloids into an overdrive. Every line item, from the penthouse suite to the stylist retainer, began to form a timeline Meghan's team could not explain. For the first time since leaving the royal family, the narrative was not hers to control. And as the headlines multiplied, so did the questions: who paid, who approved, and who leaked the truth. The answer was buried in the paperwork. In the weeks leading up to Paris Fashion Week, Meghan's return was choreographed to the smallest detail. Her team framed the trip as a symbol of empowerment. The Duchess turned global tastemaker. Every photo op was calculated. Fashion editors described her as regal yet reborn. Publicists circulated phrases like modern grace. For a few days, the illusion held. Even critics admitted she had mastered the art of reinvention. Social media turned the moment into a spectacle of redemption. Behind the scenes, the machinery of image management worked overtime. Hotel staff signed NDAs, and photographers were given strict instructions. To the outside world, the Paris trip looked effortless, a fairy tale weekend. But within the industry, skepticism stirred. Editors whispered that no brand had officially confirmed hosting her. One stylist recalled that her team spoke like ambassadors, but signed like freelancers. Still, the spectacle went on until a single document surfaced that shattered the entire narrative. It began quietly, an email attachment from an anonymous source to a European journalist. The file contained scanned hotel invoices, stamped with digital time codes, detailing every charge from Meghan's stay. The payment authorization referenced a third party, not her foundation or media office. Charges for private transportation and designer fittings bore initials that did not belong to any known assistant. A single handwritten note, confirmed by sponsor, became the spark that ignited a media storm. Within hours, commentators began piecing together timelines. Bloggers dissected every line of those documents, circling inconsistencies like crime scene evidence. What had been an image of effortless glamour now appeared meticulously financed from the shadows. The silence from her camp was deafening. Statements stopped overnight. Her publicist's number was unavailable, and appearances were postponed. The world began asking the one question no one wanted answered: who actually footed the bill? And with that question came speculation. Rumors of secret sponsors, unnamed investors, and whispered favors. The receipts had become evidence in a story that refused to stay buried. And just when it seemed the mystery could not deepen, another name emerged. The documents revealed only a set of initials. Yet behind them lay a connection that sent shockwaves through Meghan's inner circle. Journalists traced the trail through a maze of digital signatures and offshore contacts until one pattern stood out. The same electronic signature had been used in past media investments tied to a wealthy figure from Los Angeles, someone who once moved in the same social orbit as Meghan before her royal chapter began. Insiders called him Mr. X. His involvement was not official, but correspondents hinted that he had facilitated the payments personally, routing them through a company account to conceal the link. For observers, it raised questions not just of money, but of motive. Why fund her stay? Was it generosity, loyalty, or an unspoken debt? The revelation reached her team first. Aides described a tense silence when the first article naming Mr. X appeared online. Meghan, they claimed, was visibly shaken, pacing, and tearful. Behind palace walls, the news landed like a thunderclap. Those close to her husband said he felt completely blindsided, convinced the trip had been above board. But now, doubt had replaced trust. What had started as a glamorous weekend had turned into an emotional battlefield, built on invoices, rumors, and secrets. And as the truth surfaced, so did the cracks in a marriage once defined by unity. The moment the story broke, the world moved faster than any damage control team could. Overnight, hashtags multiplied and headlines screamed of betrayal. Meghan's representatives initially dismissed the reports as mischaracterized, but their denial lacked conviction. Within hours, archived versions of their own press releases began to vanish. Interviews were pulled from syndication, and promotional photos disappeared from fashion coverage. It was as though the internet itself had turned into a giant eraser. Behind closed doors, the tension grew unbearable. Insiders described frantic phone calls and emergency meetings with image strategists. Every scenario was rehearsed: deny, clarify, or stay silent. But each option carried a heavy cost. Silence made her appear guilty, denial risked further exposure, and the truth was already outpacing their control. In the public eye, the once celebrated couple now appeared fractured. Cameras captured forced smiles at charity events, a polite distance replacing the warmth that once defined them. Anonymous sources claimed Harry had learned of the Mr. X revelation not from her, but from the news, a betrayal that cut deeper than any tabloid headline. Meanwhile, within elite circles, doors began to close quietly. Invitations were lost, collaborations postponed, and partnerships reconsidered. No one wanted to be the next name attached to the controversy. For Meghan, the emotional toll was immediate. Reports described moments of breakdown, private tears, and a fear that her rebuilt image had collapsed overnight. Friends urged her to disappear for a while, but the world was already writing her next chapter without her input. The Paris dream had become a global spectacle, and its ripples were now reaching into her career, her marriage, and her very identity. And yet, even amid the chaos, one question still lingered. Was this a single scandal or a symptom of something much deeper? Scandals come and go, but patterns leave fingerprints. As the days passed, analysts began to notice something larger beneath the surface. It was not just about hotel bills anymore. It was about the recurring rhythm of reinvention, a cycle where glamour masked conflict, and every fresh start seemed to carry a shadow. Each phase of Meghan's public life had followed a familiar arc: a grand entrance, a wave of praise, then a sudden, messy unraveling. The details changed: the city, the collaborators, the cause, but the outcome was eerily consistent. And now, with the Paris trip so thoroughly exposed, the pattern was impossible to ignore. Those who had once defended her began to hesitate. Observers questioned how so many contradictions could emerge from one carefully managed narrative. Was it misfortune, media distortion, or something more deliberate? Critics called it strategy, supporters called it survival. Some insiders suggested that every move had been calculated to evoke both admiration and outrage, a paradox that kept her name alive. Others insisted she was simply unlucky, a woman repeatedly punished for trying to reclaim her autonomy. But the facts spoke louder than feelings. Each controversy echoed the one before it. The Paris leak was not a standalone mistake. It was part of a sequence, a pattern of control, exposure, retreat, and return. Even her silence had rhythm: disappear, reappear, reset. Every pause felt rehearsed, every comeback felt timed. And as analysts debated intent versus accident, one haunting idea emerged. Maybe this was not chaos at all. Maybe it was all choreography. By the time the storm began to fade, the damage was already permanent. What had started as a luxury trip to Paris had become a mirror reflecting something much deeper. The photographs that once radiated confidence now seemed fragile. Every smile carried the weight of what came after: the sleepless nights, the strained conversations, the silence between two people once united against the world. It was not just the loss of control that hurt, it was the realization that the story had escaped her hands. In a way, Paris became more than a scandal. It became a symbol, a reminder that in the empire of reputation, every choice has a receipt, and every illusion eventually asks to be paid in truth. Maybe the public will forget, maybe they will not. But the questions remain: who exposed the invoices? Why did someone fund her return only to destroy it? And if every narrative she builds eventually collapses, what is really holding the foundation together? What we know for certain is that every photo and every headline points to a larger pattern, one that blurs the line between reinvention and deception. So, what else have we not been told? If you want to see how far this pattern truly goes, watch our previous investigation about Meghan's mother admits shocking truth of Archie and Lilibet. There, the curtain lifts even higher, and the connections run deeper than anyone could have imagined. You are watching the Ruby Report, where the truth hides between the headlines.